Welcome to this episode of Philly on the Rise. As you know, I'm your host, Michael W. Pleasant. This week, Philly on the Rise finds us in our downtown studios. That's right, our downtown Philadelphia studios. And we're actually joined by my man, KR. He is the founder of this magazine, Graph Magazine. It actually profiles the 4 elements of hip-hop. So we're here to talk to him about his magazine, some of the other wonderful projects he has going on. KR, welcome to Philly on the Rise.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. I know it's been a long time coming.
It has been a long time,
But
that's
you were
right.
patient.
You know, there's nothing wrong with being patient, you know.
Patience is a virtue.
It pays off.
Exactly.
That's right.
So Graph Magazine, funny, interesting title. You chronicle the 4 elements of hip-hop. So tell us a little bit about Graph Magazine.
Well, Graph Magazine, I like to say, covers the pure essence of hip-hop in Philadelphia and the surrounding area, with topics primarily based on the graffiti scene in Philadelphia, as well as poetry, cartoonists, I like to say. There's an article in there called Cartoonist Corner, as well as other, I say, various topics.
Now, there's quite a few pictures in here throughout the city. Obviously, you've taken your camera and you've taken some shots of graffiti, and specifically. And some folks kind of think graffiti can destroy a neighborhood, make it, kind of ugly. So what are your thoughts on that? Why specifically graffiti?
Well, I mean, as a kid, I kind of grew up liking it myself, and I became involved in the game along with liking it. Let me say this about graffiti. One thing I can say about graffiti in Philadelphia is our hand styles are unsimilar to anybody else around the world. Tourists actually come from around the world to take pictures and witness the beautiful art. There are taggers out there that tag buildings. Trying to think.
And that was going to be my question. I mean, do you think that it does beautify a neighborhood or kind of tear it up? Because sometimes you'll have like, and it's like, well, what is that?
Well,
sometimes you have the colorful type that looks kind of exquisite.
Unfortunately, I like to say that there are a lot of abandoned buildings in certain areas of Philadelphia that a lot of the graphers, I like to call them graphers, they like to concentrate on. And it's an art of expression, man. And it's been going on for more than 50 years.
Yeah.
So it's something. It's like birth, death. It's not going to stop.
Sure. Let's talk about some of the other nuts and bolts of the magazine. You do actually do profiles of underground hip hop artists. I think there's a brother right here now. Tell us a little bit about his story.
Well, his name is. I'm just going to call it 16 bars. 16 bars. He's an ex-vet, served 2 terms in Iraq, but in addition to that, he loves hip-hop. So he did his 2 tours, and he continued on. He was actually rapping while he was in Iraq, and he came out from his 2 terms and continued his career. And I think he's doing quite well. He's a very, very talented brother.
Okay, all right, very, very talented brother. Let's talk about hip-hop for a minute. Top 5. No, let's not do top 5. Let's just do top 3.
Top 3?
Of all time. Which for me, number 1.
Okay, bring it.
KRS-One.
Okay.
Do you like him?
Love him.
Good. Because if not, I was going to kick you off the
I don't
set.
want to be kicked off the set.
Number 2, Eminem.
Okay. Tight.
Tight up there, maybe?
It's good. I'll give him that.
Okay. All right.
For you know.
All right. And that's my top 2. Give me your top
2. My personal top 2
Yes,
is KRS-One and Nas.
2. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Those guys they don't just rap about anything, man. When they rap, they make a lot of sense. I don't even want to talk about today's hip hop in relevance to.
Let's go for it. Do you have an issue with today's hip hop?
Well, they're not really. Today's hip hop, these hip hop artists hide behind the beat that's produced. They're not really, and they're repetitive in what they're saying. They're not making a whole lot of sense to me personally, as a person that follows the game of hip hop.
And to me, I like to classify it as you have your radio rap,
yeah,
and then you have your true hip hop lyrics.
Yeah, I would call that like Biggie said back in the day, party and BS.
Okay.
To me personally, no disrespect, that's not hip hop to me.
Okay.
Compared to the stuff that I listened to or grew up on, man. It's a totally different ball game now.
So would you not classify it as hip hop per se, or they just have to kind of flow that way so that they can get paid, make some money, and feed their family?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. Well, I mean, and that's what it's all about. You know, family's important. You know, these guys aren't out here doing it for nothing.
Right.
So I give them all the credit in the world because they are actually showing determination and commitment to their craft.
There's a wonderful article you have in your magazine, I think an 11-year-old who graffiti changed his life.
His life.
His life. How did graffiti change the life of that 11-year-old?
Well, he was a confused kid. He wasn't going anywhere, and he saw some graffiti on the wall. He became interested in it, but then he tried it out on his own style out and didn't work out, and he started running into other guys that were already pretty much had their name or stamp set in stone on the walls. And he learned from these guys and learned how to be determined and committed, and it kind of like he transitioned from writing graffiti on the wall, well, starting off not being anybody, and he picked himself up. Now he's somebody. So it's just kind of like a relevance from graffiti from graffiti to his real life.
Sure. I know that you have some kids of your own. Speaking of kids, you did a wonderful job of raising them. But obviously, as a black man in America, there's big challenges of raising your children. So let's talk about some of those challenges and how you overcome those challenges.
Well, hi Sadie, hi Greg. Love you guys. I used to work at the Youth Study Center, and I want to give a shout out to my YSC people also. Being a man and trying to raise kids, it's not easy in Philadelphia. Us men, we get the short end of the stick. We don't get the respect that we deserve, and it's a shame. But it's based off of the deadbeat dads out here, which is a lot of them. I remember going to court, family court, and a bus pulls up, and these guys are chained up, handcuffed together. Deadbeat dads who have to go to court and pay the price for not paying child support. So I take great pride in being a good father and being labeled as that, because it's difficult out here.
Now, it's hard. Do you think? You did mention it's difficult out here, but the fact that you said that you take pride in being a good dad, obviously you've had challenges with being a good dad.
Well, I was raised right. I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
But working at the Youth Study Center, it opened my eyes to a totally different genre of how men primarily are getting in trouble and taking themselves away from their environment and their family and having somebody else raise their kids. I never wanted that for me or for my kids.
Sure.
So I did the right thing. I did what I was supposed to do.
Understood. Let's return back to the magazine. There you are in circulation a little bit. Where can we find you in the city? And then what are your future plans for the magazine?
Well, technically I have newsstands downtown Philadelphia, 15th JFK, 17th and Market, 17th Street between Arch and Market. I have a store, it's a smoke shop on 18th and Chestnut called Smoking Stogies and Stuff, where I sell my publication. And also 2749 Kensington Avenue, a place called Q&A Wholesale.
And I imagine you're also online as well.
I'm on Facebook heavy. I have a whole host of followers on Facebook. Am I doing something wrong? All right. Online is my, I started from the bottom. I'm working my way to the top, man, and it's baby steps right now.
Sure. Yeah, you said started from the bottom and working way to the top. Earlier before, you said you don't like Drake, but now you're quoting Drake. So please help me understand.
Well, that don't mean just because he said it that he was the first one to say it.
No, let's get to it. Great. I just want to make sure I understand where we're going.
All right.
You're not hating on Drake per se.
Drake is Drake.
Okay.
That's it. I'm not a fan of Drake. Drake.
Because?
Well, his upbringing, everybody knows his upbringing, but when he raps, it's
a little different.
Yeah, it's not the same to me.
Understood. Well, KR, thanks a lot for joining us for this episode of Philly on the Rise. We'll definitely be on the lookout for your magazine. Tell us next what you have planned. I know you told us where we can find you, but what are the next steps for the magazine?
Well, the next step is I'm changing the name from Graph Magazine to Graph World Magazine. to try to widen the market of followers, to let everybody around the world know what Philadelphia graffiti and its aspects are about, the 4 elements of hip hop. I actually have a 5th, which is fashion.
Okay.
Because we're all individuals here in Philadelphia. It's not a lot of followers. It's a lot of leaders here. So I just want to continue on, providing a medium for people that dig the culture.
Sure. Let's go back to the 80s. Let's go back to the 80s. We had the era of Biz Markie. We had the era of the Fat Boys.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of beatboxing here and there. From my understanding, you're a quite talented young man yourself. From a beatbox standpoint.
I still got a little bit.
So that's all we want, that little bit, whether it's 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Can you just give us that little bit?
All right, just for you. Just for you.
Yes, sir, for me.
Just 5-6 seconds.
5-6.
I'm gonna give you some Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh, here we go, bro.
All right. That's it.
That wasn't even 5 seconds.
That's all you're gonna get.
2 or 3 seconds.
That is all you're gonna get, man.
Oh, man, you're teasing us.
That's it. Nope.
All right, my man, KR, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me, man. And can I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
Keep doing your thing, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I appreciate what you're doing.
Okay.
You're trying to make the light shine on people that are, putting forth the effort to be successful in their craft, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, good brother. I will keep doing what I'm doing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for this episode of Philly on the Rise, and we'll see you soon.